Let's take a short break from all of this finalizing and tweaking and adjusting, and let's have a little bit of fun. Let me switch off some of these extra high-def objects. What I'd like to do now is work on the detail that's inside the headlight. And as a modeler, you really have to appreciate it when you come across areas like this on a model. Because basically what you're looking at is a way to make everyone who sees your model go, wow, you did such a great job with all the little fine details, and all you did was play around for a bit. So it's almost like a pot shot. So here you go. Here's how we're going to get started. First off, I want to get rid of the windshield cover, little sheet of glass on top. So what I'm going to do is create a layer for it. And it's a temporary layer. We'll probably get rid of it later. We'll call this, not windshield, it's headlight. I'm sorry. Headlight cover, and that's fine. Let's go ahead and assign this object to it, and we're going to template it. This is so that we can get an idea of where that glass exists while we model. Now, if we jump over here to the top view, we have a real basic, really general representation of what this thing looks like, and then we've also got a photo of it. We're going to simplify this just a little bit. There's no need to worry about making this look super, ultra, mega gorgeous, even up to levels like this, just because we're not going to worry about making a model that is going to have a camera shot that close. But it's going to look really good. Actually, it probably will look good at a shot at this distance, come to think of it. It just might not look down to the blueprints exact. So, how do we begin? Well, let's see. I'll deselect everything, and let's grab the Create Polygon tool, and we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4. So create a polygon that just kind of outlines this area where we seem to have a recession for, I think that's a blinker. I guess that's what it would have to be. And it's kind of floating here, needs some adjustment. So let's grab onto our vertices and move them around. So we'll pull these guys straight down. They're relatively close to where we want them to be as far as X and Z are concerned. So notice I'm just getting them in here to provide a little bit of thickness. You might want to turn on some of the nice, round, smooth, clean areas. You know, let's see, look, oh, so sharp and pretty. Actually, you know something? Like, you see that rounding there at the corner, and then you look over here and you see, I'm telling you see the same rounding. It just brings a tear to my eye. Okay, anyways, back to work. So what do we have here? We have a straight edge that comes in from the hood and then wraps around and comes out here to the outside. Now realize you are looking at kind of the opposite side of the car. I wonder, can we... No, we can't flip this, can we? Boom. We can rotate it. Wow. Yeah, I think... Oh, that was rotating. I was kind of confused there. I guess this thing doesn't have the ability to flip, but that's all right. So we go straight. We have kind of a nice curvature, and then we go straight back over to the other side. We have a little indentation here at the top that looks all fancy. We have an indentation up here. We have some lamps. We have some little ridges where it's kind of carved out to make way for the lamps. I mean, all of this crazy, difficult-looking detail, but fortunately for us, the detail is actually quite easy. Now, it does look like this points inward, like if you were to look at this from the top in the real car, it looks like this edge points slightly forward. By that I mean we're going to take this vertex and tug it up a little bit. And let's go ahead and run it all the way over here to the edge. Now the whole time I'm going to make sure that I stay underneath the glass, even by just a little bit. It'll make all the difference in the world. We'll pull this over as well. And this is as good a place to start out as any. In fact, yeah, that's not bad. I think I'll just take this one vertex and pull it back this way just a little more. Okay. So now that I've nitpicked that to death, let's go ahead and grab this edge here on the outside, and what I'm going to do is extrude it, as you might have expected, and then I'll pull it over in X, make some adjustments to it, needs to slide back in Z a bit. What I'm going to do is pretend like this is that whole curved area. This is going to, as far as I'm concerned, be this whole thing, this whole arc. And we'll turn it into that arc in a minute. Right now we're just using the detail to space everything out. So let me grab this vertex up here in the corner. We'll pull it up, back, and over, like so. Go into wireframe view, and we can kind of get a better idea of exactly where it's being placed. And you'll notice in the image that it looks to me like the edge that this creates, I mean, if you were to follow it all the way over, it looks like it kind of meets back up with that edge over there. So like this would be a straight edge except for this cutaway. At least that's what it looks like. So what I'm going to do is we'll pull this over like so, kind of create a straight line all the way across. Then we'll grab this edge again, extrude one more time, extrude, and we'll pull this over like so. Now a few tweaks and adjustments aside, what we'll end up with is we'll take this area and make it into that arc. So maybe we'll pull this back over, line things up, shade up so we can see what's going on just a little bit better. And that's looking pretty good. Now, from here, I'm going to grab the split edge ring tool and boom, boom, boom. 3 little edges. This will give me all the detail I need so that I can grab vertices. Let's switch over to normal mode. Again, W and left mouse button. And we can just slide up in the U direction and create that rounding. Real quick and easy. Now, do we know that that's exactly the rounding? No, not yet. We'll get there. But as we go, let's grab all of these edges, like so. Let's extrude these and pull them straight down in Y world to create a little bit of thickness there. And let's go ahead and smooth this. So Control, tilde, and we create a smooth proxy. Cool. Now, it looks to me like this area up here is just kind of a thin panel, and it recedes back and makes room for the lamps. What we're going to do is something very similar. This is going to recede back and then wrap around and create this part as well. It's hidden away from the audience, and we've got plenty of detail to do that. Alright, and let's extrude these edges, go into world space, slide these back a bit, come up here under the car and you get a really good view of what's going on. Pull these back and down, extrude again, this will just come down. Let's kind of start flattening these out. So I'll start scaling down in Y. Okay. And we'll pull down and forward. You can see we're starting to kind of create a nice little recession down here. Excuse me. And let's see here. From here, let's take a look at our smooth. So yeah, starting to get a nice little indentation. Let me take this up to the next level of detail. So page up, and ooh, yeah, fancy for starters, anyways. And so yes, we'll grab all of these. Actually, let me start straightening up some of these edges before I get too carried away. We've got some tweaks and adjustments that need to be made. Let me get my move tool, and let's put that back in world space for now. Now these guys, you'll notice we're probably going to need to start tugging in because the whole contraption appears to taper as it goes inward. And we can start lining these up a little bit. Grab all of these edges, let's extrude them. And we'll pull forward. Actually, we want to meet right about the bottom of that, so I'm going to start sloping these downward. I'm going to scale all of these in for a moment. start sliding these back, because I'd like an angle across this whole edge. Okay. And one more, at least one more anyways. We'll pull this up and just kind of start fitting this in. Doesn't have to be a big ordeal. Just got to kind of fit underneath there. Because we've got some reshaping we need to do anyways. If you look at the picture, you'll see that we have some little indentions, like curvature, if you follow the curve of my mouse here. I'm not sure as to the technical term for that right off the top of my head. At least not right now. I'll make a point to look it up later, really. Let's see. To create all of this, we will clean up the alignment of our vertices. And notice I'm just kind of getting these all back in a straight line. Slow and easy. So my dad always used to say, slow and easy. So now I say it. Alright. Okay, now let's grab pairs of edges, and I'll pull this down a little bit. Then I'll grab all these edges, and I'll pull these down a little bit. You'll notice we start to get a little indention. It's possible we could use some more definition around that indention. I'll worry about that here in just a moment. For now, let's go over and have a little bit of fun. Because this is all, you know, one of those gradual types of works. We have that hole that exists up here, if you recall. The little guy up here that looks so neat. And let me kill off my history, which is starting to kind of add up. Creating this hole is going to be a lot easier than it looks at first. Even if you think it looks really easy, it's going to be even easier than that, because I said, we'll start off by creating an edge across the top, like so. Let's go back to object mode, and I'll get my split polygon tool. And I'm just going to make a split that looks like a kite, sort of, like so. I'll grab all of these faces. Now, you can see that really didn't do much of a change to the shape itself. And I have all these faces selected. We'll extrude these faces. And I push them down, and check that out. We start to get a little indention. Tell me how cool that is. Alright, so we can slide this back. Now the whole thing here, the whole trick, is just going to be to play with shaping this a little bit. That's really all there is to it. So we'll start off simple. We'll take this vertex, and let's curve snap it down a little bit so it kind of stretches that out. We'll grab the vertex here in the middle of our little kite shape, and we'll just view it from down here because it'll probably be easier to understand. We'll pull that back. We'll slide this back and maybe up and out a little bit. We'll slide this back. And then we'll slide this one back. So you'll notice we're starting to make a little hole here. And check it out. There's what it looks like out here in the smooth world. Now to really make this look pretty, we can grab all of the edges here around this hole and bevel them. It starts to clean it up a lot. And if it looks a little bit rough, like it doesn't have enough definition, of course, you know, your first impulse might be to take it up to another level of detail, which you're more than welcome to do if that's the way you want to handle it. But I have another trick that I will do instead. Let's push this back down to just 2 levels of detail. And you'll notice we have these 5-sided faces all surrounding this hole. Let's grab our split polygon tool. And what we'll do is we'll split from the corner of each of these faces inward toward the center of our little kite-shaped hole. Actually, whoops, went one too far. Don't go into that last triangle piece. Just connect to it. Because what you're doing is you're quadding this, and then you're actually quadding the little triangle in the middle as well. So here, just so you can see, we go from the inside of the hole back out to the corner. And from the inside of the hole, and if you can't see the corner, just get the closest edge and drag out to it. And this one will have to go into wireframe view for a second. And there we go. Now, our hole's going to look really funny right now. It's going to be all diamond-shaped, which is fine. We just need to start tweaking detail to make that go away. So I'll grab this little group of verts. Notice I'm grabbing all three that are along that edge. Pull them up, pull them over, slide them back. Just eyeball it. This doesn't have to be a real major, drawn-out thing. You'll find that you can make this look really good without having to worry too much about getting crazy precise with anything. And that's always good. You know, when you can get over here and just have fun with your model as opposed to following a big stack of rules and having to keep looking at your reference material every 5 minutes, things like that. Alright, we don't need to move that. So we'll pull this down, slide forward just a little bit. And there you go. So you've carved a little hole out quickly and easily. Okay, now over here, we have another little indention here in the bottom, very similar to what we have over here, which needs some cleaning, by the way, because it just looks too plain. So I'll start reassigning detail. Probably make all of this point forward and it'll be a little more accurate. I might have made it a little too subtle now, but that's okay. We'll fight that out here in just a moment. Round that out. Okay. Now I wouldn't mind closing off the sides of this. So let's just start off with our append to polygon tool. And we can append straight down from there, and straight down from there, and straight out to here, which will create some interesting areas over here in our smooth mesh that you can see there. So you see that kind of over-rounding all the way in. We don't really want that. I'm going to experiment to try to get rid of that. I just want to see if this will work. I think it will, but I don't know for sure. I'm going to grab all of these front faces here on the edge, and let's just extrude these out just a tad. Nope, that didn't work. I knew it wasn't going to work. I was just, yeah, I'm just testing you guys. In fact, what I think I'm going to do, let's kill that. What does our smooth look like now? Looks kind of like that. Okay, what if I kill that out? How does it look? Just kind of curves in there. Well, I'm liking that. So what I'll do is we're going to grab this edge and this edge, and I'm going to extrude these. We'll pull these straight up and adjust a few vertices. So we got this vertex over here. And let's go ahead and merge those together. I'll get this guy close, but I'm not actually going to merge the two. Not yet, anyways. What happens if I just snap these close to one another? We get a little bit of a gap there. We're kind of supposed to, which is fine. We need to slide this back. Okay, and I'm just kind of eyeballing this right now. Not too worried about crazy amounts of spending hours to get this looking dead on. Pull this just inside. Yeah, fine. Let's go ahead and just see what happens if we merge these. I may need to get a little creative to take that out, but that's okay. Creativity I have no problem with. Okay, so looking pretty good so far. We do need to create that second indented area in through here. So let's go over to object mode. Let's delete out our massive amounts of history. I'm going to grab the split edge ring tool and do the same thing we did before. 2 quick splits, kaboom. There you go. And now we can probably just get away with grabbing a couple of faces, pull downward. And you can see the indentions there, though they're not that pronounced. Probably help us out a little bit if we made them a bit more apparent. Let me try this. I'm going to take these edges all the way along here. I'm just going to test, see what happens if I were to bevel these. There we go. So that cleaned that right up for us. Null sweat. Now let's grab this edge. Probably don't need to grab it all the way down. Let me just try grabbing it from here. If we need to go further with it, we can. But let's also bevel this. That creates a nice crevice there and sharpens that up a little bit, which is good. Let's do the same thing down through here. And bevel again. Oh yeah. Looking very sharp. Okay. Now, probably be a good idea to enclose this area just like we did over on the opposite side. So, let's see. Let's go to object mode. Let me grab the append to polygon tool. And we'll append downward. Append again. And then back here at the far edge, I'll grab this this edge. We'll extrude it up just a little bit. Grab this vertex all by himself. Let's snap over here and make sure you can see where I'm putting that. And, whoops, go back. We want to merge those together. Thank you. Okay. I can slide all of these inward a bit and pull them forward. Okay. A little bit of rounding there that we could maybe pull out of the way and then just not really dwell on too much because I doubt anybody's ever going to notice it. And let's come over here and start creating that little indentation here on the top. I'm going to grab all 6 of these faces. We'll extrude them. Slide down and grab our offset. Now let's see what 0.05 gets us. Ooh, that's a start. 0.1. Yeah, it might be a little bit better. Because there's the indentation that we're creating. So I just need to kind of get that started. Okay, and let's see. Let's come here to vertices. And if I were to switch this over to normal mode, what directions do I get? Nothing I really want. So let's switch that back over to world for now. And we'll just start off simple here. I'll start curve snapping these guys down because I want these to go a little bit closer to the edge. Now, the ones here where I don't have an edge to snap down, I mean, you could create a curve to snap to, or just, fake it. Snap in Y to him, and just tweak accordingly. And let's get this one as well. Okay, now these we can slide kind of far forward. I do have a little bit of curvature there across the back, so keep that in mind as you're shaping out what's going to become this hole, because that's what we're doing. We're shaping out something we're going to extrude in. All right. We'll grab each of these again and extrude. Push inward a little bit. And now let's do some reshaping. So I'm just going to start off by grabbing the lower row of vertices across the back. Push these down. So you can already see that creating the shape that we're looking for, or helping to create it anyways. Grab the next row of vertices. Pull those down. Now if you don't want that little ledge there at the very end, you can just kind of pull these guys up and it'll start to bleed away. See, if I pull this back a bit, that should help out a lot too. Hope it kind of smooth away the difference. So there you go. And now, let's see what happens. This is kind of another little test. What if I grab this little crescent of edges all the way around? Including that. And let's bevel these. Ooh, it's a little nasty there at one corner. Now, why does it get nasty at one corner and not at the other? That would be a question worth answering. Let's just kind of see if we have any stacked vertices, or maybe if I start realigning these, it'll help. No, it doesn't look like it. Okay. We have 3 vertices there, and over here we have 3 vertices. It's kind of interesting. Because right off the top of my head, the reason for one looking really good and the other one looking really nasty is kind of eluding me. That could be it. It's alright though. Let me back up one. Let me just see what happens if I were to deselect these edges. Or maybe it was deselected the whole time. I wonder. Nope. Okay, let's just bevel without those, and what do we get? Woohoo. Something's up right there. Something is not quite right. Ah, it's probably right there. That's probably the heart of the matter. This funny little corner. So let's see. If I squashed you guys together. Yeah, I'll bet that has everything to do with it too. What I found was just that extra vertex down there where I started a bevel kind of in the middle of an edge. So let's see. If I bevel this now, what do we get? Still a little bit nasty. I think that may have helped a bit though. If I were to merge these together, how does that look? Even worse than it did before. Okay, well, that's just a little bit strange. Nothing we can't fight our way around, though. Alright, if I just bevel that, what do we get? looks a little bit better. Is it just the positioning of these vertices? I mean, that... Yeah, that's helping. Just kind of move these guys around a little bit. I know that 5-sided face there probably isn't helping matters. Yeah, that's not bad. I can work with that. Maybe just come in here and tweak out that little corner a little bit. Yeah, I think that's going to work out fine. Now, forgive the big bout of tweakage there. I was just making sure that I got that looking good. Now, let's see. If I push these verts nice and close to one another all the way around... Still looks a little crazy right there. Let me just take that edge and kill it off. We can grab this corresponding vertex and get rid of it. What do we end up with? That could be an interesting little technique. What if I do that? What if we grab this edge and destroy it, grab this vertex, destroy it, and I get my split polygon tool. Go back to object mode so it'll pop up in my menu. And let's just split all the way across here. That should make everything nice, neat quads all the way through. And I'm okay with that. So that's looking pretty nice. And everything's closed up. So I think from here we need to get some lamps inside of it. Now, you can kind of see that the lamps, we have sort of a cylindrical body that just kind of fits into the back, and then we have these really kind of interesting looking lenses. Oh, we also have a little blinker guy back here inside of this. Let's kind of could make a few adjustments and then add something like that in there. What do you say? You like the idea? Okay, let's do it. So we'll do one thing at a time. First we'll finish this off. Now, because I'm curious, I want to see if I were to extrude all of these and just do a quick offset. Maybe not quite that much. And then offset again, pull this back. What do we end up with? So we end up with kind of a hole. That's handy. So if we do that again, and do another little offset, and we were to take this and pull it forward, but then grab these two edges here in the middle, and pull them forward even more. Hey, look at that. Insta-blinker. All we need to do is kind of straighten out some of the elevations. Cool. Yeah, I dig it. Rock on. Okay, now back over here with the stuffy stuff. We have a little cylinder here in the middle, big cylinder back here. So let's start simple. Here's the cylinder. It's about as simple as you can get. Scale this down. We rotate it 90 degrees in X. We plug it in. Now, what I'm actually putting together is kind of the black cylinder you see back here, not the actual lens-like piece that I'll be putting together here in just a moment. Alright, I'm going to make us a little more room here on this main frame piece. Push that face down a little bit. This kind of tucks right up under here. Scale it out a little bit. I don't mind just plugging this in back here in the back, because it's one of those things that's just not going to be seen once you get any sort of lighting and shadowing in there, and especially if you have your headlights on, nobody's going to be able to see anything, which again is one of those areas that makes it really fun if you just want the glory of being an attention to detail modeler without a lot of crazy hard work. Let's bevel. Oh, actually, I don't want to just bevel that one edge. I'd like to bevel all of these edges. Let's go to Edit Polygons, grab Selection, Contiguous Edges, and we'll bevel. Whoa, some heavy beveling. Let's make that kind of small, 0.05. Well, maybe more than that, maybe 0.08. That's not bad. Put a couple of segments in there. Ended up looking a little bit freaky. Let's see what happens if I adjust my normals. Let's soften everything up. And it may not look that good. Nah, I'm just a little bit too picky right now for something like that, or to let that fly. So let's take this and set it up to something like 36, and that should make that a lot more circular in the first place. And now we should have a much easier time. Alright, offset 0.08 and just a few segments around it. Okay. I can cope with that a lot better than that. After I soften this, this should really work out just fine. Yeah, totally cool. Okay, so from here, we have edges, kind of tuck up and underneath, a little bit of cleaning. And now, let's kind of take a look at this in with the smooth. Looks nice. Now we just have that lens that sits here on the front of this. Now, these two lenses are different. One's looks like it's got more holes in it than the other, but here's the thing. They primarily have the exact same shape. So what we're going to do is build two of them, or build one, and we'll just duplicate it over and create the second one. It's a way to, I don't know, make our modeling job easier without adding too much to our workload. Don't let anybody freak you out and be like, oh, there's the wrong number of holes around that headlight. They got to count them first. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to create a new polycylinder, which I'll snap over here. Let's rotate it 90 in X. Let's scale it way down because it's huge. And there it is in all of its glory. Now, it looks like there are 1, 2, 3 little bolty, screwy brackets around this, and I would imagine they're evenly spaced. So what I'd like to do is to have a number of faces around this this polygon object that are divisible by 3, so I can create 3 of those. So right now 20 is not divisible by 3, but 24 is, so we can go up. 21 is too, but I like 24 better. So, take a quick look. We have little extrusions outward, then we have a little bit of a lip, like a ring. So let's see here. What's the easiest way to get started? That's sitting just inside. I'm down with that. Let's take the subdivision caps and set those down to 0 for the time being. I think that'll work out best, just for now. And, yeah, so here's our initial height. We extrude, and it looks like I need to reselect my object. There we go. Scale down uniformly just a little bit so we get that ring where we can catch a highlight. Scale out again. I'm sorry, extrude out again. And it looks like maybe this is tapering a little bit as it goes, so pull it in just a hair, maybe even not it that much. Pull that back out. There we go. Then we have a nice beveled ring of edges. So we'll pull out, scale in uniformly, scale in again, scale in again. Actually, that might have been one too many. That's okay. We'll just use this one. We'll pull this one in a little bit further and then scale in a little bit further. And this will create that area where we're going to have the holes here in just a minute. Then extrude in again. Scale in to create a little bit of a bevel. Actually, that was a little bit far. So from here, go back in. There you go. So there's a start for it. Now here we have one face. There's two faces. So then we got 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, what did I say we had around this? 24? I don't think that's going to work out just right mathematically. So I think, what is it, 6 all the way around? Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 2 more, and then 6 more, and let's go to wireframe so we can see a little better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 more. So now I have 3 equidistantly spaced pairs of faces that I can extrude out. I can scale in, I can squash down, and I can slide backwards. I'm telling you, it really is that easy. Okay. Looking good so far. Now, next order of business is I'm going to grab this face. I'm going to extrude it. I'm going to scale everybody down. I'm going to grab the vertices all the way around this, and we'll merge these to center. So that triangulates that back to a single point. Now that done, I'm going to create a new cylinder. And I'll snap this right here to the center. So there you go. Let's rotate this in X, 90 degrees. And I'll make it tiny now. Subdivisions around the axis, we're going to set way down, something like, I don't know, 8. We don't need much. And we'll pull this up. Let me turn on wireframe on shaded. Might make this whole thing a little easier to see. So shading, wireframe on shaded. There we go. And let's scale this out a little bit. Scale it down uniformly. Stretch it out. Slide it into that surface like so. Now I'm going to group this object. Check it out. Control. Actually, hang on. I was going to group it. I just changed my mind. We're going to hit insert and just move its pivot point. So, boom, point snap it to right there. Now, let's hit rotate. I'm going to rotate this to the center of that face, which I think is something like, is it 7.5 degrees? Negative 7.5. That looks about right. It can't be 8, so we'll go with that. Now, check this out. I'm going to hit Shift-D. And then we'll set this to negative 15. Oh, it's not at all what I wanted. Oh, yeah, it's got to be twice that. So that would be, what, 15 plus 7.5, which is 22.5 or something. So negative 22.5. Boom. So he ends up in the middle of that face. Now Shift-D. Cool. So end up with one of these guys all the way around. Now let's select them all. After this much build-up, I really hope this works, because we're kind of relying on a Boolean here. Booleans don't always work the way you want them to. Let's go to polygons and combine these all into a single object. Let's grab these two guys and edit, delete by type history, and polygons, Booleans, difference, thunk, and there you go. So now we can go to, what is it, shading, switch off wireframe on shaded, and there you go with the fancy schmancy holes all the way around. Now, if you really just want to be crazy, tight, nuts, and anal about it, you can get in there and you can bevel all the edges around those holes or whatever. To me, I mean, it looks awesome even at this range, so I don't know why you'd have to go too much further than that. So we'll call it right there. Now, we could also do something similar to create holes here. You'll notice there are some screw holes there. I'm not going to worry about it. I think that looks fine as it is. So if you want to create those, it's just one more Boolean. Rock on. I'm going to grab this, and we'll duplicate them. Actually, hang on a sec. Let's group them first. Modify, center the pivot on that group. We'll duplicate that group. Slide it over. Slide it back. Scale it up. Maybe not quite that big, but close, actually. Fit it inside. It's kind of recessed back a little further, it would seem. Is that looking good? Now, we have a little circular lighty guy that's plugged in up here, and I have no idea what that is, unless like some kind of really high-intensity fog lamp. Let me clean that up a little bit. We'll just pull that up, get a little more rounding. And we'll create one of these high-intensity fog lamps, because that is what I have decided they are, out of a new cylinder. And we'll just snap it right here. We'll scale it down, rotate it in X, 90 degrees. And scale it out a bit. Now, do we really know what that looks like exactly? Sort of. It's got a little thumb-like shape or something. I don't know. I say have fun with it. So I'll just grab all the faces here at the front of this. We'll slide them back a ways. And let's just start doing a few extrusions. We'll put like a little ridge here on the outside. And then we come forward, and then I'll say another little ridge, and then we'll come forward again. It looks like the lens part of it just kind of rounds off. So we pull out and scale down over several steps. And we end up with some nice rounding. And then if you just really wanted to throw everybody for a loop, I guess, grab this loop of faces. We'll extrude these, scale them down, pull them out a little bit. Pull out, make another extrusion, pull those out. So here's what you end up with. Kind of bullet-shaped. And then you could grab maybe this face here in the middle. Or this, I'm sorry, the vertex. You could pull this out. Grab this edge. And, oh, yeah, let's see. Can we grab... Nah. Duplicate edge loop. Nah, I don't want to do that. What I would like to do... Paint select edges. Nope. I just wanted to see if there was a selection there for all of this, and I'm sure there's one around here somewhere. I just don't know where it is. Edit polygons, selection, and select contiguous edges. Soften edge, boom. F8 a couple of times. There you go. So there's a little fog lamp plugged in there just for you. And yeah, looking really good. I am happy. And you know, when I'm happy, you can tell because, yeah. Now I'm going to start grabbing edges all the way around the top area of this. Notice I'm just kind of going one edge over on this side, and we'll grab all these and extrude them down in Y world, and that's just creating a little corner up here. And if, probably just to smooth things out, we can grab this corner, and let's bevel those, and woohoo, pull that bevel way down as far as offset's concerned. Make that really tight, like 0.05. And yeah, it's looking pretty good. Now we just need to kind of clean up some of that nasty gappage we have. So come over here, grab vertices, tweak things around until you get the gappage to go away. You can just plug it in. You don't have to worry about all of this because it's going to end up looking really sharp and clean and pretty almost no matter what you do because it's all fit in behind something. So I think that'll take care of that. So now let's grab our headlight cover again, which is here and covers everything up, and we'll select it. And everything's got a soft edge on it. There's probably no reason that I can think of that we would need to smooth that out any more than it already is. But we will grab all of the edges around it, and let's give these a soft bit of extrusion at the edges. So let's see, we'll pull all these down in Y world. That'll add some thickness to the glass. And then we'll go around and grab all of these edges, as well as the edges at the corners of the object. Now, what in the world just happened here? It looked like that might have already had some thickness to it, and I was just totally... Yeah, there was thickness on it. Huh. Go figure. Great. So what I'll do, I just undid all of that extruding I just did. I'm going to grab all of the edges all the way around this. Don't worry about selecting the ones on the bottom. They'll be ignored by what I'm about to do anyways. And we're going to bevel these. Just a little bit of bevel. That doesn't look half bad. Let's just give it a few more segments. Now I'm a little bit concerned as to whether or not that's going to look a little too straight cut across there. You see what I'm saying? Like you'll see a straight edge, another straight edge, because there is some gentle rounding there. So I'm going to retract my previous statement that maybe we shouldn't smooth this. Because I can do that. I can retract statements all day. You'd be amazed. And let's come in here and we'll just hit Control tilde and just see what happens if we create a soft version of this. And then grab all of these edges and bevel them. It's not too bad right off the bat. Let's grab that bevel and I'll increase the segments on it. Oh yeah. So yeah, if we just push that up several segments, like there's 4 segments, so we have nice rounding on the panel. Everything's looking nice and sharp. We can do the same thing over here. We've already got this smooth, but we have creasing all over it, and, well, we've already talked about that. We're going to kill off that creasing. Let's shift right mouse. We'll grab our poly crease tool, select all of these creases. We'll bevel these. Let's switch over to our high res for just a minute. And just boost up the segments until that looks nice and round and pretty. I think that worked right there. And now what I'm going to do, and this is frivolity, I know, but we'll grab this piece, right mouse, materials, new material. Let's make this a Fong just for the heck of it. And we'll boost its transparency almost all the way up. It'll be almost completely transparent. And give it a little bit of whiteness. So now we can see through it. And then what we'll do is we'll grab the low-res version as well. And we'll drop that Fong on it as well. So now you can kind of see through it either way. So if you were to do a render, you'll probably catch a little bit of a highlight on it. Yeah, and then you could turn on ray tracing if you wanted to, and even catch a little bit of refraction. And again, just because it's frivolous but fun, we can grab this guy, add a new material, make this another Fong, and make it black. Maybe slightly up from black. I almost never use super black. And select close. So yeah, now that's black like it is on the real car. Ooh, fancy. All right, so with that, I think we can go ahead and wrap up the old headlight. It's looking pretty sharp. The last thing I guess you could do, I know I keep stalling, right, is, well, we could grab just that piece and just this piece, not that piece. And we can go to, let's see, let's get the render menu out here. So let's see, show rendering. And here's lighting, shading, assign existing material. Let's grab that blend 1. So we'll make that all nice and steely, kind of like it is in the real world. And there you go. So I think with that, that's all finished, and that will wrap it up for this video. Thanks a lot.